Welcome to BattleTech in the Morning with Captain Nips. I'm Captain Nips. This is the BattleTech Backer Beta. And today, I want to start a little mini-series that tries to predict the future. And to be fair and to be clear, I am not psychic. I do not have any insights into the way time flows from one end to the other. And I do not have any insider information as to how Harebrained is going about their business as applies to the BattleTech Backer Beta, or anything really. What I want to try and do is take a look at the lore and where it intersects with what we will see, hopefully, in the eventual single-player campaign. Now, the easiest place to start making some predictions is based on the lore. What kind of mech chassis, what kind of mech variants will we see on the battlefields of the single-player campaign? And I think it is fair and reasonable to make some assumptions based on what we've been told so far, and to extrapolate out a little bit into, what the canon of BattleTech lore provides to us. So today, let's talk a little bit about the map. Just a little bit. So here we have the Aurigan Reach, where we will be playing the majority or all of our campaign game. And you'll notice that it is surrounded on three sides. To the east and the west, you have the Taurian Concordat and the Magistracy of Canopus. Now these are two periphery states, relatively less, they are of less industrial bases. Their militaries are not as large, at least at this point in the timeline. And as such, you don't see a lot of unique battle mech chassis or variants coming out of either of those two periphery states. They do have militaries, they do have the capability to build some mechs, but for the most part, those two states are supplementing their militaries with purchases from the successor states to the north. Now to the north, you'll see the Free Worlds League, the Capellan Confederation, and the Federated Suns. Three of the five big successor states of the Inner Sphere, basically the five big players. Now, it is convenient for us, in terms of BattleTech and the single-player campaign that we're going to get, that there are three of the five major players nearby, because that means that we will probably have access to variants and mech designs from those three states. And we also could get access to designs from the Lyrans and the Combine. I wouldn't put that out of order even slightly. But given that those three states, the League, the Capellans, and the Fed Suns are right there, it seems likely we will see some of their variants bleed into the single-player game. So let's start by taking a look at one of those variants. Today's BattleTech in the morning.
Welcome, Commander.
There's a mech that we have in the list currently that is a decent medium. I like it. It's got some problems, and it's not perfect. And it's called the Trebuchet. The Trebuchet that we have right now is the 5N. The 5N is as it says, fire support mech. 2 LRM-15s, 3 medium lasers, ammo to back up the LRMs. It's not super fast for a medium mech. It's also not too slow. Its armor is a little thinner than I would like in pretty much every situation you can think of. But as I've shown in previous videos, it can get the job done, and it does its job admirably as a fire support mech. The only downside, aside from the armor, is probably that the ammo is a little bit thin. You can run yourself out of the ammo in a somewhat protracted mission. It doesn't even have to be a super long mission. Now, because the Aurigan Reach lies so close to the Free Worlds League, the Free Worlds League introduces an interesting variant of the Trebuchet that I think is worth looking at, because I could see this becoming a workhorse mech for our campaign games down the line, and that is the Trebuchet 5S. The 5S replaces the LRMs from the 5N and puts in SRM6s in their place, and then uses the extra weight that's freed up to add 8 single heat sinks to the chassis. So this mech is going to be much easier on the heat scale. It's got really good punch at medium to short range. It gives up all of its long range ability completely by giving up those LRMs. Now, this can go one of two ways. The problem with the 5N was its ammo and its armor. That is not mitigated, or it is not addressed by the 5S. Free Worlds League decided they didn't apparently need to up armor this variant. Instead, they stuffed it full of single heat sinks. So the 5S is still going to have the level of fragility that the 5N has. And it may also have the ammo problems that the 5N had, having only a single ton of ammo per. In fact, I think it has is it a single ton of ammo period? Nope, there it is. Two tons. If we get the 5S variant in the campaign game, or if we get the 5N, which it's here, so I would assume we'll get the 5N in the campaign, my recommendation is going to be this. Get into the mech lab, and if you want to make something like this 5S with the 2 SRM6s and 3 medium lasers, if you strip 3 of the 8 single heat sinks out of this 5S, that is enough extra weight to nearly maximize the armor on the Trebuchet. And then that turns the Trebuchet here, this Trebuchet, into a really dangerous medium mech knife fighter. Now, it is worth comparing this against some other mediums that are available to us and some other mediums that we may see down the line. So, if we just take a look at tonnage quick, it's 50 tons. So we're in the Hunchback, well, not quite Griffin. Griffins are 55, but Hunchback, Centurion. Yeah, it's worth mentioning. Vindicator, it's worth mentioning. Griffins, Kentaros, Shadowhawks. So this variant of the Trebuchet with the 2 SRM6 and 3 medium lasers is going to be outgunned by, say, the Kentaro. I think it's got a comparable weapons loadout to your Shadowhawks and your Griffins to a certain extent. Stacked up against the Hunchback is a little bit of a rough comparison in my mind, because one of these Hunchbacks brings an AC-20 and the other brings a whole lot of medium lasers. So I don't think that a short-range knife fighter Trebuchet is necessarily going to stack up well against the Hunchback. The other thing being the relative lack of armor, which you can fix, hopefully, using the mech lab that we get. And the same goes against the Centurion. The Centurion's got a pretty stout level of armor and guns. But here's the thing. The Trebuchet's cheap. These values, I don't believe that these C-bill values are all correct. And honestly, looking at the canon C-bill costs for these things, you can get a 5N for 4.25 million C-bills. You can get a Trebuchet for under 4 million C-bills. I would have to go back and look how it compares canonically against the Hunchbacks and Centurions, but on the face of it, that seems relatively cheap to me. So that's enough talk. Let's take this Free Worlds League variant out onto the battlefield. I've already set up a lance of 4 of them. I need to pick some pilots. I'm going to do my usual thing. I'm just going to pick best gunners I got. We want our weapons to hit. And the thing I'm going to do in this match is I'm actually going to roll this out onto one of the hot maps. I think I'm going to go to Death Valley. Also, I've set the budget to unlimited, because what I'm going to do over here is I'm actually going to custom tailor the enemy lance. The reason I'm doing this is because like I said, I'm not completely convinced that this lance of Trebuchets can hang with a lance of Hunchbacks. So this is 3 autocannon 20 Hunchbacks and a laser variant Hunchback. I'm giving up 300 million C-bills, which may be suspect, not quite sure. I'm also going to go ahead and give them decent gunnery pilots. We're going to make this as straight up an even match as I can. And I'm going to see if I can take these 4 trebuchets into battle and take down the workhorse of the inner sphere, the Hunchback, one of them anyway. Let's get ourselves to Death Valley. I think a Sunset Desert is a beautiful mood to play with. Let's get going.
Commencing deployment. Mech warriors, prepare for combat.
So since the 5S by default is about 3 tons short of maximum armor, it's 3 in a very small fraction. And the Hunchback, I do not believe, is short any armor. It might be short half a ton. I'm not actually sure. I'd have to go back and look. I'm going to have to
Command interface initiated.
probably hug some trees. And I'm probably going to have to use some maneuvering to really keep myself out of harm's way. Now, if I want to pick a fight, if I wanted to pick a fight with a bunch of Hunchbacks, where would I want to be? We fought up here recently. I fought down here recently. I'm not going to be able to get into their backfield over here or over here. I think I'm going... I fought over here a while ago, but that was against some mechs that had jump jets and caused weirdnesses. So I'm gonna pick my fight over here. So let's just get everybody moving.
Aye, aye. Reporting. Yes, Commander.
Now the thing that I'm kind of hoping for in picking the 5S here is that it's in its stock loadout with the additional 8 heat sinks, that these mechs run reasonably cool against the Hunchbacks that may or may not have heat issues. The one variant with all the lasers is definitely going to have to take some time, turns off from firing, or take some, non-full alpha shots.
Receiving you.
And
Got it.
even the autocannon 20 variants of the Hunchback, I think, will have to spend an occasional turn
Moving to position.
not firing.
As you wish.
Because it turns out autocannon 20s generate a lot of heat. So I was just about to do some mental math. It looks like I have 200 missiles worth of SRM-6 ammo. And I'm firing 12 a turn out of the 2 SRM-6 launchers. So that's about 10. It's more than 10. It's less than 20. Probably on the order of 16 to 18 rounds of constant fire, which is going to be more than enough, I think.
Waiting for orders.
More than enough. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up at the back of this forest.
Ready for orders.
Set up at the back of this forest so then I can get a running start down the length of the forest for some movement modifiers once the Hunchbacks show up.
Move order confirmed.
Which might become a little bit difficult, but we'll see. Get our lineup going here, and then I'm going to wait.
Commander? Keeping my heat low.
I get the feeling I'm going to have to stop taking all good gunnery pilots and at least
Confirmed.
include at least one good tactics pilot
And cooling.
from now on, because this kind of sitting and waiting for my sensor bubble to finally show something
I'll rest my mech.
is infuriating. Alright, here we go. Also, worth pointing out, I'm in mediums. AI's in mediums. Everybody's in phase 3. So you go, I go. So,
Commander.
let's get this party started. Am I going to be able to get line of sight on anything? The answer is no, at least as of this very moment. So what I am going to do is reserve. Make them go first. Make them all go first. Make them come to me.
We got company.
Okay. Got one taking the ridge. Got this guy trying to crawl up. I like this. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Okay, that's great. I think that's about as good a position I can ask for the lead element of their lance to land in, because I should be able to move most, if not all, of my lance up into firing solutions on that guy. Now, granted, it's probably going to be sprinting or something. It'll either have sprinted or it'll have moved and braced. So I'm gonna take damage mitigation on my weapon shots one way or another here.
All right.
But the important thing is I'm gonna get my entire lance's worth of fire on this guy before he really gets a chance to react. Decent numbers. Heat's no problem.
Engaging target.
Let's leverage the Free Worlds League's finest here. So we sneak a head hit in right away.
Standing by.
Arguably the slowest traveling SRMs I've seen in recent history, as they lazily make their way to their target.
Firing all weapons. Receiving you.
Now, I mentioned in the preamble that this variant of the Trebuchet
Got it.
has some competition. And I bring that up very specifically because there is a variant of the Hunchback. It's called a swayback variant that reduces the size of the hunch on the right torso. And the variant I'm thinking of actually replaces the AC-20 with SRM launchers. So it is a very near comparison to these trebuchets that I'm using right now, as this Hunchback just tanks all of my fire. Man. Alright, it's go time. I am pretty sure that one of my future videos is going to be on that variant of the Hunchback, because it is a really good variant of the Hunchback. It gives up the punch, the blow-through power of the AC-20 variant, or even the disco laser power of the energy variant.
Waiting for orders.
But it is a very durable, very powerful short-range mech,
Acknowledged.
as we will continue to pile on this guy, who is absolutely probably going to fall over from this attack. But then he's just going to stand right up, which is kind of sad and unfortunate that I'm not going to get to leverage this. Oh, and then I forgot they added the -1 initiative, so he's just going to get plowed as his Hunchback friends try to figure out what they're doing with themselves. Here comes the autocannons. All right. Well, that's unfortunate.
Battle mech down.
Through cover. Through cover.
Standing by.
That is rough. 25% damage reduction, so 100 damage autocannon 20 does 75 damage. The head has 61. Wildfire gets exploded. That's real unfortunate. It's super duper unfortunate. Also, just noticed, worth pointing out, the wreckage of her mech now takes up a spot that I can't stand in. I've literally never noticed that before. Good to know. We really need to kill this Hunchback now. Like, post haste pronto, murder this guy to get this match even. Oh, I like that stream of missiles. That stream of missiles. There we go. All right. You know, you take one from us, we take one from you. Granted, your pilot gets to live to see another day. Wildfire is going to need to get a clone popped out of the tanks. On the plus side, we killed one of the 3 autocannon variant
Minimal
hunchbacks.
damage on that hit.
So, the likelihood of
Commander,
another grotesque cockpit implosion is lowered. Now, I don't know about you, ladies and gentlemen, in the viewing audience, but does this look like a forested hex to you? It doesn't to me, but you know what? I don't care. I am going to use it because the game thinks it does. Which puts us just close enough, yeah, because some of these other ones are just out of range, but this guy over here, that guy over there is about to get lasered and missiled.
giving him everything I've got.
Send in the swarms, get a head hit somewhere in there. Not super excited about that part, but landing damage, which is good.
Reporting.
There we go. Keep the pressure on. Ooh, boy. Yeah, Paradise. Paradise, not the greatest shot. Not the worst. But clearly much more affected by range bracketing than his fellows. As we are tearing open armor panels, working the other team. As I stand in my forested hex.
Took a hard hit there.
You're fine.
Orders.
At this point, I have no intention to leave this forested, quote-unquote, forested hex. I am instead just going to plow this down to man. Right here. Check our heat. Heat's still pretty good. So now I have some choices to make. I could go after the hunch, go after the left torso, remove the ammo from the equation. Actually might not be the worst idea. Center torso is 54%, left torso is 37% to hit. It's got all of its structure left on that side torso. But you know what? I'm gonna go for that side torso. Worst comes to worst, I hit the center torso.
Reporting
Or I get an ammo explosion. Sure, why not? Apex gets drilled in the arm. That arm's coming off. That's unfortunate because I think that was...
internal structure damage.
Yeah, it was a 2-laser arm. The trebuchets are built very weirdly asymmetrically. 2 lasers in the right arm. Let's just take a look at this. 2 lasers in the right arm. Laser SRM-6 in the left arm. Nothing in the left torso. I mean ammo and heat sinks. Launcher in the right torso. It's a very strangely asymmetric mech.
I'm here.
And I don't have line of sight from Kraken to the downed mech.
Commander.
Paradise, however, should and does. So let's take care of that. Ammo explosion did not help this hunchback's cause, so we're just going to center of mass.
Unloading a full salvo.
And so far so good. The additional heat sinks of the Treb 5S have kept these machines pretty cool despite 3 or 4 successive rounds of alpha fire now.
Ready for orders.
Can't complain about that. Not even slightly. Alright. Kraken should probably have, yep, good hit percentages on the next guy down the line. So let's just make that happen. So it's probably worth pointing out, actually, as I think about it a little bit more. The fact that I have taken cover gives me 25% damage reduction.
Shot with internal.
So flip that around. Effectively, it's giving me 25% more armor. I think is an interesting way to frame it. So then, I think that puts me on par, durability-wise, with what these hunchbacks are bringing to the table.
Commander.
These hunchbacks are evaporating pretty quickly under the combined fire that I am throwing. And I don't even need to move. Like, we've just settled into, alright, let's just everybody stand here and shoot. Which is... Oh, alright, now we're tippy-topping out of the heat scale. This guy needs to do something. Is he going to do anything of relevance? Ignores cover, drills that same side. Right torso. So, there goes the launcher. And it split its fire. Oh.
Damage minimal. Standing by.
Hairbrained recently did a Q&A on AI routines, and I think it is worth going to watch. Honestly, I need to watch it again to grok it all and get it stuck in my head. Let's see. Okay. Apex, you're kind of in a rough spot.
Awaiting orders. Aye, aye.
But you're one of the two
Awaiting
remaining
orders.
to fire. Kind of don't want to keep hanging you out here, so let's rotate the line. I can't sprint yet because I am unstable. So, in the spirit of preserving the components of my mechs,
Reporting.
I'm going to make a bit of a shift in my line here. Paradise, I really should be moving him more, but he's just gonna get plonked anyway. So what do we got over here? 50s, 45s. I could run him up. I could run him up here. I'm trying to remember how much damage I put on this third autocannon hunch. I think the answer was not a lot, and 3 pips of movement modifier is not the hottest place to be. But I can always pull him back.
Yes, Commander.
Can always pull him back. They're not going to put enough damage on me, I think, to cause stability problems. Overheat warning as we tiptoe out into the desert sun. You know, I'm going to chance it.
Firing.
AC-20 crit.
That's critical hit.
That's not a bad place to... Oh, and a knockdown. Nice. Paradise getting in there. Getting the work done for me. Laser Hunch is going to have to look for better position. Question is, does it get a full alpha off this turn? Nope. Only a half alpha, although he cut right through that movement modifier that I was putting up. Right through it as if it wasn't there. Can I get right side on this guy? I can get right side on this hunchback if I want to give up my cover, which is not precisely the best thing in the world. But this is Kraken, and Kraken's a real good shot. Who is also... Oh, I forgot. He's also overheating. He's going to be right into shutdown. Oh, he's only into overheat territory. Interesting. It's hard to see, but it says overheat warning down there in the corner. Do I roll 2 rounds of melting in my own cockpit for a chance at the hunch? I think I'm going to play it conservatively. There'll be more chances. Take the guarded, take the entrench, so I can get the cover, get the cover going. Oh, I really want to take advantage of that downed mech. Do I just hammer it? Is there a spot? It's giving me there, there, there. You know what? We'll take there. We'll take that. We'll get into melee. Trebuchets can do some good melee. If we get lucky, we do something heinous to this Hunchback. Kind of splitting the difference here, bud. Alright, Apex. Move to a locale and take a shot on the downed guy. It's not great. It's not great. But we've got a called shot. Which torso's more beat up? 50, 35. So let's go after the ammo side with my SRM6 and my medium laser. Who knows? Maybe I crit seek. Maybe I crit seek here and I get a lucky ammo explosion. Or just fat nothing. A little bit of damage, but not exactly what you're hoping for in that case. Meanwhile, this Hunchback's gonna probably back up and drill Paradise. Oh no! Tries to drill Apex. But goes wide. Alright. Now we're in it. Because Kraken... still... Here we go. There we go. That's what we like to see. Covered location. Somehow not obstructed to the Hunchback in the distance. I was going to say I was going to throw focus on this, but Kraken's such a good shot to begin with. He doesn't need it.
Roger.
Look at that beautiful damage. Oh, but nothing gets through the armor. Spread it a little too thin. Okay, so the laser back is rolling backward to take a shot at Paradise. Take all the shots at Paradise. Losing a bit of armor.
Standing by.
Alright, Paradise, now is your turn. Let's just take a quick look at this guy. I could go from the left or the right and get the job done in either case. So I'm going to move away from the laser back over there. Try to get... Yeah, get the left side of this guy. It's obstructed because he's down in a gully. Amazingly. This, I will throw focus on.
You people don't know who you're dealing with.
Got the heat. 95's to hit.
Target acquired. Locked
This should remove the left torso. There we go. That takes the autocannon out of the equation. Alright, poor beleaguered Apex. Poor beleaguered Apex. What can we do with you? Is there anything we can do that presents you as less of a target, for one thing? Not much. So we're going to... I'm going to try and give up my left side as much as I can. Although... Alright, so here's a problem with the trebuchets in general. So, my right side's gone, which took with it 2 mediums and the SRM6. I would want to try and preserve the life of this mech by keeping my left side toward the enemy. But with only 43 structure left in the left torso, that if that goes, I have nothing left. My mech turns into a walking stick, and there are no guns here. It would still remain salvageable, so I think you still have to play it that way, because if I give up my right side... Do I just give up my front? If I just put my front forward and hope it hits legs? I think that might be the play. You face up so that the 2-hit tables present both legs as part of the equation. Hope that any shots coming this way hit the legs. Hope her shots hit the center torso over there. There we go. Get the damage transfers.
Mech destroyed.
Pop goes the Hunchback. Trebuchet's rolling. These 5S's doing the work. And here's where somebody gets murdered. As this guy rolls back out onto his perch. He likes that perch a lot. Apex is going down. Wow! Woohoo! Hoo!
Taking internal damage.
I think that arm went into orbit. Oof, man. And Kraken took 3 to the chest.
Ready for orders.
Alright. In the interest of salvage, Apex's mech is now
On the move.
popping the white flag. We are out of here. No sense taking a casualty that we don't need to.
Standing by.
Paradise, it would be grand if you could murder this guy.
Have no doubt it will be done.
Get back in there. Heat's still good, although it's gonna run out real quick. Good shots on the part of Paradise, landing pretty much all the guns.
Orders.
Kraken's turn. Kraken is certainly capable of the same. Is he capable of getting into that left arc or right arc? Nope. Not without putting ourselves out of the tree line. But I can split. I can try and split this guy's focus. Get him. You know, if he turns in one direction, I can hit him from behind with Paradise. If he turns the other way, likewise, Kraken. And in this case, if he splits the difference, then he's just taking it from both sides, which is okay by me.
Reporting.
Got a heat sink. And the knockdown. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. That's going to give my remaining gentleman a chance to jump this guy.
Standing by.
Let's start with Paradise. Let's start with Paradise, and let's get... This isn't awkward at all. No, this firing position isn't awkward at all. Sure. Oh, oop, crud. I hope that's still in there. Hope he's still in the firing arc. Okay, good. As we're staring at the sky, let's go for that left torso. Overheat warning. I'm actually going to drop off laser now. Laser? Yeah, I'll drop the laser off. I want to try and crit seek on these open panels. Straight into the exposed side.
That's a critical hit.
Arm bits falling and rolling away into the sunset. Kraken will just do his thing. Oh, we like this. 55 structure left in the center torso. I'm pretty confident this guy is going down. Yep. There you go. Score a victory for the designers of the Free Worlds League and their refit of the Trebuchet 5N into the Trebuchet 5S. Taking on some Hunchbacks and winning the day. Take an unfortunate early loss to Headshot on Wildfire, which is really, really unfortunate. But we won anyway. Apex's mech is going to need some serious, serious refit. But the other two come out alright. So, I will go back to something I said earlier as I was talking about the 5S variant. Once we get the campaign and we get the mech lab and we're able to make changes to these mechs, which I'm assuming is all going to happen because Harebrained has said as much. I think it is completely fair and completely reasonable to take 3 of these single heat sinks out, put on 3 more tons of armor. The rest of this build for this Hunchback is really solid. 3 medium lasers, 2 SRM6 for a medium mech. That's a good punchy loadout. It doesn't have as much punch as some medium mechs, clearly. As I'm staring at the Trebuchet's empty head paper doll location that Wildfire was piloting. But can get the job done. It's got good stability damage potential, caused lots of knockdowns in that match. Good crit seeking ability. SRM-12 is no slouch when it comes to seeking out crits. Just need to fix that little bit of durability issue, which is an easy fix, I think. Assuming they let us fix armor. I'm hoping they let us fix armor. Because there's a lot of Inner Sphere mechs that by default do not have maximum armor and really, really should. 13 rounds, 27.5 minutes today as the enemy Hunchback force gets plowed. Wow, that guy took it all to the center torso. Got drilled. The rest kind of just obliterated through massive damage. Get a bit of salvage here and a bit of salvage there. Seems good. The Trebuchet 5S, I think, is worth your consideration, or a build like it down the line come campaign time. It uses cheap weapons. SRM-6s and medium lasers are not expensive. It's on a cheap chassis. Trebuchet is inexpensive to start with. The kinds of fixes you need to make it a really good frontline knife fighter, not too many. Should be relatively cheap to refit. I think it has potential. So keep your eye out on the markets of the Inner Sphere, whether they be gray or black or legitimate, and see if this Free Worlds League variant shows up for purchase. But that'll be all for today's BattleTech in the Morning. I am your market advisor, Captain Nips. Wishing you a wonderful day, wonderful afternoon and evening. And I will see all of you in the next video.